Welcome to Linear Perspective Part 2. So this is where we left off our drawing last time. So now we're going to add some features, and I've penciled some of them in, but I'll do them for you so that we can add some more urban features and make the drawing more interesting. So the first thing I'm going to put in is some telephone poles. So these are relative, remember lines are horizontal, vertical, or they go to your vanishing point. So here's my vanishing point. And the lines are going to the vanishing point. And I've got another one over here. And it's going to also go to your vanishing point. Make sure you line that up. Now you can put a thin line and string wires. I would save that to the end to see if it's necessary. Sometimes it's just not even necessary. And here's some just super simple features. These are parking meters. A lot of this stuff is obsolete. They just don't really, they still have parking meters, but they're usually on the side of the street or in the, where you enter a credit card number. This is an interesting urban feature. These water towers, they are also going obsolete. But we know, and it's basically an upside down ice cream cone. We're looking up at it, so this is going to be curved that way. And these were invented after the Great Chicago Fire in the 1870s. Here's the how the water gets in. And of course it's a water tank, but it's really a gravity-fed sprinkler system. So if a fire were to break out in this building and the electrical system was somehow to stop because it's on fire, this is just a gravity-fed. You don't need any electricity. So the water from this tank will drain now throughout the building, throughout the whole sprinkler system. Earlier in the drawing, I established our light source is here. So let's just shade this. Put a form shadow. It'll help us see this as a rounded thing. This is a metal band, so it would cast a shadow also. You can do it in real lightly. Put in a chimney here. So horizontal line, vertical line. This line is going to go towards my vanishing point. And a vertical line. Since we've established our light source, this is where this is going to go. Let's try to stay inside the lines. I put in a window here. This one's a little different than just the square. So you got your horizontal line. Your vertical line. And I want this to be an arched window. So I'm just going to arch it like so. And I just use that line as a guide. So you got just a little bit more interesting kind of window. I use the guideline there to go to here. And this would be also an arched window on the side. Remember this. So it's going to peak right there. got some garden boxes here. So horizontal lines. Vertical lines. And this is a very short line, but it's still there and it's still going to your vanishing point. And since we're looking up at it, you'll see a little bit of the bottom of this garden box. You can extend this and make it out to be a balcony. We'll do the same thing here. An interesting thing that they're doing with these old water towers, in some cases they're just tearing them down, but in some cases they're taking off this cone top, they're filling this with dirt, and they're growing trees on top of buildings, which is as a home for birds of prey like falcons or hawks, which then in turn help reduce the population of pigeons, mice, and rats in the city. That's pretty awesome. I noticed that I made my fence a little bit too big here. Sometimes you can erase, but sometimes you can just draw over something. And you can fix things that way when erasing just doesn't seem to want to work. I'm always kind of conscious of the light source, but with foliage it's not as important to be believable looking. This is a little basement here. So this line is going to the vanishing point, to the vanishing point, horizontal, horizontal, and then you've got a line that goes straight down. And we want to fill this in. And we've done holes before, so it's darker and gradually gets lighter. Oh, I forgot to put in some flowers. So just squiggly lines will work. If you're going to add some watercolor to this, you can just use some color, or this would be a good time to mix, put some details like this. Can be done in colored pencil, so you get some reds and yellows, and you can use watercolor on the sides of the building. So here I've got a stairway. I penciled it in, but I'm going to do it for you. So this is horizontal line. And by the way, I really prefer a clear ruler so you can see what's behind. Having a solid color wooden ruler, it's a little bit more durable, but these really are the best way to go. And if you are interested in the arts, you're going to need a ruler at some point, and I really recommend you get a clear ruler. So you got this little triangle, and then the steps are going to go towards your vanishing point. when they're off into the distance like this, sometimes this is all you need. If we had a closer up, we would definitely have more lines to draw. But details are not always terribly important with something that's so far off. And this line and this line are going to be parallel. And then here's the doorway entrance. And I put this little light above it, shining down. Oh, let's put a fire hydrant here. Fire hydrants are also sort of one of those urban features that are going away because a lot of fire trucks can carry enough water. So what do we do with all these windows? You know, we have so many squares. Well, one thing we can do is make them a little bit different. Home here, so it's dark inside. This gives you your drawing a little bit of contrast from lights and darks. Maybe this one, they've just got the shade half drawn, or the lines. Maybe in this one, we're seeing the silhouette of someone looking out the window. We've already established our light source, so the sides of these buildings are going to be a little bit darker. Depending on the material that they use with these buildings, it could be really dark or it could be not so dark. So on the darker side of these buildings, this is a great opportunity to introduce light. So here's a window that the lights are on inside, and it's going to really stand out if what's around it is really dark. And every time you go over it, you're really helping to bring out that contrast of light and dark. Our eye is drawn towards that. But I'm leaving, see the light? So this light is on. talk to you about these blending stumps. You can use your finger, but this is some pretty tight area. So here's a blending stump, and it can help blend your pencil, your colored pencil. They actually have one specially designed for color pencil. It smooths things out, it evens things out. Actually use this to draw, so let's just kind of use that a little bit lighter. These are great to play around with, and you can actually draw with these. So this shading on the side really does help. Want to make this side too dark. Because we have this little square here. Let's put a palm tree. Maybe it's an advertisement for a getaway place. Maybe it's just a mural. You can put whatever you want there. I'm going to eliminate that line and make this side really very dark. Cast shadows. Side would probably be a little bit darker. And you can use what we call monochromatic, one color of watercolor, shades of blue or shades of green or black and white, anything you want. And I'm going to put a light coating of gray with the blending pencil. So let me conventional wisdom in drawing and painting is it's good to have a dark shape at the bottom of your drawing. I say it anchors it. That's conventional wisdom. But in the art world, we defy conventional wisdom all the time. See, I'm going outside the box. That's okay. The box is just there to help us. If we were to get this drawing framed, it doesn't matter because we've already got the 8x10 dimensions established. And then we just blend it. You can also use your regular pencil and wrap some tissue paper around it works well with regular number 2 pencil. It doesn't work quite as well with colored pencil. So these are just some of the urban features. Oh, I want to show you one more thing. It's not really an urban feature. But we don't want a cityscape that's void of nature. So we did put some trees in there. Let's talk about drawing clouds. So where should we put our clouds? Let's put it right here. Again, this is a compositional issue where you place things. Clouds tend to be flat at the bottom. And then they just puff out. And since our light's coming from here, everything away from it is going to be in shadow. You can use cross-hatching, and you can also use these squiggly lines. So just a nice puffy cloud, and blending it really will help bring out this cloud. So there's atmospheric conditions that cause clouds to just flatten out. For some reason, they can't go further down. When you look up and you don't see that flattened bottom, it's usually because the cloud is above you or close to above you. It's one of the ways you can gauge how far away a cloud is. And sometimes they stack up. So flatten. And here's a little mind-blowing. See how this one is lower than this one? Well, and you can tell this, especially here in Sacramento Valley. If you're out in the countryside, driving those country roads, you might see, especially in the springtime, these clouds stack up. One is lower than the other, and they'll go sometimes all the way to the horizon line. That is evidence of the curvature of the Earth. Because the atmospheric conditions that cause the bottoms to be flattened are the same, but the Earth is curving, so this one appears lower. These are getting really close to losing, so I can just darken this one, and it'll appear to be I could keep going with this all day long. I've given you some ideas of how you can add these urban features, but I don't want this video to get too long. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you. And once you're done drawing in these features, add watercolor and color pencils. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.